Maru starts off as your classic awkward underdog, battling social anxiety and a hefty sprinkle of autism. But as the plot thickens, he morphs into this ice-cold, emotionless Chad. In a universe where everyone has one talent, my boy's the ultimate wildcard, munching on monsters like they're snacks to snag their skills. And let's not forget his boss, Kang, who is a seriously buff gal whose abs could probably deflect bullets. It might look like Maru's living the dream, but he's got more hurdles than an Olympic track meet. In just a year, monsters are set to rain down from the sky, and it's up to him to stop it all from turning into a monster mash party. But hold your horses. Let's hit rewind before everything goes bananas. The story starts in a creepy part of the forest with a dusty camp. A random minion is crawling backward on the ground, and in front of him, a bunch of people are all beaten up and lying there, looking lifeless. He's freaking out, noticing someone in yellow dust coming his way. This mysterious figure pulls out a giant sword with little bells jingling at the tip. The minion pleads for help, but suddenly, a weird creature jumps out from the bushes and grabs his foot with its tentacles. It drags him into the bushes, leaving a trail behind. Later on, his lifeless body is discovered by a group of people who take a closer look, commenting that he shouldn't have been wandering around there. One of them grumbles about marking him as a casualty, while the one with black hair adds that based on the footprints, they need to start working before things get worse. Out of nowhere, the girl with the black hair picks up on someone sprinting towards them from far away. Everyone else catches on too. The beautiful and jacked one pulls out a knife and makes a cut on her hand. She holds the knife with her injured hand, and then her blood starts to interact with the knife, making it grow longer. The one with glasses points to the dust and yells that it's coming. He mentions the beautiful one as Officer Kang, who then takes a step forward and responds that she'll take care of it. That little knife appears to suck her entire arm and has now grown into a massive sword. Turns out she's part of the yellow dust task force. The scene switches to a totally different spot. Inside some building where a public service job interview is happening in Seoul. There are a bunch of people hanging out in the waiting room while they call numbers. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, our main guy feels like he's about to pass out and just wants to bail and go home. His heart feels like it's going to explode. With shaky hands on his racing heart, he thinks he just can't go through with it. He heads over to the sink, splashes some water on his face, and tries to chill out. He keeps telling himself he can't handle. He just needs to pop a few more pills. There are plenty, but they're not really doing the trick. Then, out of nowhere, he spots a cute little sparrow landing on a branch. The bird looks right at him, and he stares back, sweating and feeling anxious. After a moment, the sparrow opens one big eye, kind of asking him what he's looking at, and basically telling him he's in trouble. But honestly, he's not even that rattled. He just thinks panic attacks are something else. As he walks toward the interview room, he catches a news report about a camper in Gangwon province. He keeps moving, reminding himself that he can do this. His name's Maru, 29 years old, and he's about as average as it gets, who graduated from a mediocre university, still trying to land a job. This is the 5th year he's been at it, aiming to become a civil servant. And now he's finally made it to the interview stage. Just then, a woman walks in and calls his name. He jumps up, all excited, saying he's here while telling himself that this time, he's definitely gonna make it. Our guy strolls in all confident, hyping himself up, until he's hit with the boss's intense stare. He swallows hard, and when the interviewer asks why he wants to be a civil servant, he just blurts out that he wants to give back to the community and help society. But honestly, what he really wants is a stable job, a steady paycheck, and a nice, chill life. Then the interviewer throws a curveball, asking what he'd do if his boss messed up. Maru quickly says he'd speak up about it and try to sort things out while staying positive. Deep down, though, he thinks he'd probably just act like he didn't see anything. The boss then questions how he is with people. With a grin, he says he's pretty terrible at it. His communication skills are lacking, he gets stressed out easily, and his classmates used to tease him because of his ADHD. That's what comes out of his mouth. But the truth is, he's super friendly, has a great group of pals, and still chats with his older and younger mates. The boss looks puzzled, and our guy suddenly realizes he messed up. He said what he was really thinking instead of what he meant to say. What a goof. The interviewer clears his throat and says they're ready for the last question. He asks Maru how he dealt with the toughest time in his life. Looking a bit lost, Maru admits he hasn't faced many hardships. But the interviewer presses him to just think of any problem, so Maru, feeling all twisted up, finally mentions a trip to the mountains with his dad. That's when he suddenly remembers something about that yellow dust. His heart starts racing as he pictures this black creature with golden eyes, staring him down. Now he can hardly breathe. The thing had tons of eyes sprouting from its head, and Maru was just a kid back then. Suddenly, he's frozen in the interview, his vision blurring, and the chair tips over, sending him crashing to the ground. He stares at the ceiling, everything spinning around him, until the interviewer rushes over calling for Mr. Han, shaking him and asking if he's all right. In the middle of his panic attack, Maru tries to hold back his vomit, but it's too late, and the interviewer ends up drenched. Just like that, we're back at his place with him sprawled out on the bed, mumbling that it was a disaster. He's convinced he totally bombed the interview. It's tough to figure out how he's supposed to live a normal life with no job, no girlfriend, and no friends. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door, and he has no clue who it is. He stumbles over, opens the door, and asks who it is, only to freak out when he sees a muscular woman who's total Chad vibes. She asks why he wasn't picking up. Yup, it's Maru's mom. Maru shows up and asks what she's doing there. She says she brought him some food and was planning to leave. He thanks her, asking if there's any meat. She says no, just kimchi and beans, but he appreciates it anyway. With a jawline that would make mewing fans envious, she looks around and notices he's been living off instant noodles, messy napkins, and soda. Meanwhile, he's just stoked about his meal. She starts cleaning up the mess, wondering how he can live like this. He says he'll clean later, but she's more curious about how the interview went. That's the last straw for him. And he flops to the floor, feeling totally defeated. He mutters to himself that there's no chance. He's telling her he threw up on the interviewer. His mom crosses her arms, pats his back, and tells him not to sweat it. He'll get the next one. Then she goes back to cleaning up. After a bit, she even hands him some pocket money. He's touched by her kindness, but refuses, saying he's an adult and needs to handle his own stuff. But she flexes her arm, and Maru quickly takes it. With that sharp chin of hers, she comments that if he flunked the interview, then the shaman she saw must be onto something. She tells him he needs to hit up the mountain for a bit. He looks freaked out, but the next thing you know, we're there. The sun's blazing, and our guy is rocking a sweater and pants. As he thinks about how many years have passed, he can't believe he's back at the mountain where it all went down. He starts remembering how his mom had a chat with a shaman who tried to explain why he couldn't land a job. The shaman said it wasn't about his panic attacks or ADHD. It was because of his dad, who vanished and died 2 decades ago. Apparently, he left some kind of barrier on his soul that needs to be cleared. Until that happens, he can't really move forward with his life. If he wants to work in public service, he has to make an offering on this mountain to ease his dad's spirit. After wandering around for a long time, he's not even sure how much further he has to go. But eventually, he finds himself at a gate, feeling like he's finally reached his destination. He opens the gate and stops for a moment, glancing to the side. Suddenly, he sees a younger version of himself, like a flashback. The kid rushes to the entrance of the house and starts to open the door slowly. Inside, there's a man with his back turned. Maru swings the door fully open and just stands there, staring. After a bit, he gets closer. That figure is his dad, and Maru tugs at his dad's pants, saying he's hungry. But his dad has this weird look on his face and suddenly starts screaming. Just like that, the vision disappears. Maru feels a sharp pain in his chest and realizes another panic attack is coming. He takes a deep breath, lets it out, and feels a bit calmer. He digs into his backpack, pulls out some liquor, and pours it into a cup. Then he starts tossing it around the house, telling his dad he hopes he's having fun wherever he is. He explains he only came because his mom asked him to, and tells his dad to rest in peace. That's why he's there, to pray for the spirits of the mountain. He remembers how after his dad passed, his mom worked really hard so he could grow up and get a job. While he does his prayer and offering, this yellow dust starts creeping in. Maru wonders if it's smoke from a fire on the mountain. He bolts down, reminding himself that safety comes first. Then he hears this strange voice echoing, repeating, "Safety first!" He thinks it's just an echo and looks back. Out of the yellow dust, a mysterious figure is coming closer. But Maru's frozen, standing there like an idiot. Suddenly, a monster shows up and it looks like it's pregnant. Maru rubs his eyes, wondering if he's seeing things again. He tries to wipe them again, hoping whatever it is will just vanish. But it keeps getting closer. He knows something's up and realizes he should probably just start running. But then something pierces through his stomach. Already on his knees, he wonders if this is how he's going to die. He spent his entire life hitting the books, trying to land a job, and never really got to enjoy anything. On the other hand, at least if he dies, he won't have to worry about work or even taxes anymore. He smirks, knowing that nobody really gives a damn. But then he thinks about his Chad mom. She always worked her butt off, backing Maru no matter what, and was just stoked to see her son doing well. With that Chad courage kicking in, he starts to push himself up, even with that thing still stuck in him, saying he's not going down like this. But then the creature catches a whiff and starts creeping towards him, mumbling something about safety first. The monster gets ready to take a bite, and inside its mouth, there's an eye staring right at him. It clamps onto Maru's waist, and he struggles to pull his torso away to dodge the bite. However, the monster's mouth is huge, and it sinks its teeth into his shoulder. Our poor guy is screaming in pain, thinking that if this goes on, he's gonna black out. Then he remembers his dad always telling him to eat right. If the monster can bite, he figures he can do it too. With this, the table turns, and he bites into the creature's neck, tearing off a chunk. Man, our dude turns into a total beast like right away. The monster didn't see this coming. Now it's flailing around in pain, and that massive eye inside its mouth is just staring at it. Dark energy leaks out from its head through the iris, and Maru suddenly gets hit with all these visions, bodies being dragged off by these creatures. A crazy scene where monsters are taking each other out, all while a weird green eye looks down on the chaos from above. Maru's trying to figure out what he's seeing, who's talking to him, and if he's already kicked the bucket. His mouth tastes like metal, and he wonders if that's the taste of death. Someone calls out to him again, and he's curious about who it is. Slowly, he opens his eyes. A guy's asking what he's doing in a restricted area. With his mouth still bloody, Maru is totally confused and scrambles to his feet, looking around in shock. He's trying to figure out where that monster went, or the creature that popped up from the yellow dust. The fancy guy with blue hair asks him what he saw and what he said. Maru explains that some yellow dust showed up next to him. A monster attacked him, and now he's just waking up. He thought for sure he was a goner when the monster went for his stomach. The two people around him exchange glances and seem to signal each other. The blue-haired guy says that when the demon alert went off, he figured it was a false alarm, but guess not. Somehow it looks like Maru took it down. The girl chimes in that it can't be true because, while you can get a demon's power by drinking its blood, you can't just start using its abilities right away. The guy glances over at Maru and calls out to him, asking if he remembers what happened yesterday. Maru, standing there in his ripped-up clothes, now looking like some trendy outfit, has no clue what he's talking about. He checks his phone and can't believe he's been out cold for a whole day. The guy then mentions that if Maru made it this far, he must have picked up some kind of power. The girl chimes in, saying it's too early to jump to conclusions since he just woke up and probably doesn't get what's going on yet. The guy tries to reassure her, saying everyone goes through this phase. He puts his hands on Maru's shoulders and tells him he showed up at just the right moment. He's going to have to get involved. Maru's totally lost on what that means, but they tell him to change clothes first, since what he's wearing is a mess. After that, they're back at the port for the new employee orientation for the special service. Maru is sitting there in a fancy shirt, feeling totally out of place. How did he end up at a government official's orientation? The vibe is far from friendly. Everyone around looks kind of weird and has unsettling expressions. Just then, someone in red clogs walks in and heads up to the lectern. It's another Chad-looking woman. Looks like we're going to see plenty of gym rat muscle mommies in this story. She introduces herself as Yu Young, the head of the place, and gives a warm welcome to all the new hires. Maru raises his hand and nervously suggests that maybe he shouldn't be part of this event, but she just tells him to chill out. She mentions she got his info. He's been accepted. Congrats, dude. Our poor guy is standing there totally confused by what this wild woman is saying. She keeps going with her speech, saying everyone should already know about the special employees. Their main job? To protect lives, no questions asked. They can't tell family, friends, or anyone close to them about working here. If any of that info gets out, they're in big trouble for breaking national security laws. Maru thinks to himself that this is really serious. Yu Young then mentions that everyone here probably got new demon powers this month. When a demon's blood gets into your system, there's a chance you'll get an ability right away. Maru realizes this must have happened when he bit into the monster's neck. She goes on to explain that demons are only hanging out in the mountains for now. The yellow dust is the first signal that a demon is about to show up, and its concentration varies from 1 to 10. The higher the dust level, the tougher the creature. She then calls out to Xianwu, who raises his hand. She says since he got an ability from a level 7 creature, she's excited to see what he can do. The handsome guy replies confidently that he'll give it his all, so there's no need to worry. Next, Yu Young turns to Maru and notes that he got an ability from a level 1 demon, asking what it is. Still a bit out of it, he admits he has no clue yet. Immediately, Xianwu, that annoying jerk nearby, starts laughing. That guy also deserves a bite. Maru feels annoyed but decides to ignore it. After all, his priority is to get out of this place as soon as possible. Out of nowhere, a loud alarm goes off in the room. Yu Young says it's just the right moment. Looks like a demon has shown up. Before they know it, they're hiking up the mountain. She calls it the time for the practical test. A perfect chance to try out their new skills. Meanwhile, poor Maru can't help but wonder why he's stuck here. All he really wants is to bail before things get risky. But just when he tries to think of a way out, he gets hit with that annoying yellow dust. His face totally gives it away. He's completely freaked out. Through the thick fog, a woman shows up. It's Officer Kang, the one who showed up earlier. Maru glances at her arm and wonders if she's all right. Just then, she turns around and catches Maru off guard. She's managed to impale this massive 3-meter-tall creature on a stick, while everyone else just stares in awe. Yu Young tells everyone to focus because the practical test is starting. The creature they're facing looks tough, but it's really just a rank 1 demon, the weakest kind. Captain Kang has it pinned against the wall, so there's no need to panic. Kang is way more interested in our clueless guy, who's just standing there with his usual blank stare. Considering he somehow took down a demon all by himself yesterday, she's curious about the potential of someone who got powers right when they were facing a creature, because that's super rare. Yu Young then tells everyone to start using their abilities, but our guy is just frozen in place, staring at that huge monster, thinking this woman must be out of her mind. How's he supposed to fight something like that? Panic kicks in, his chest feels tight, and it's hard to breathe. Suddenly, he finds himself standing on this red river. A creature with black limbs comes closer, looking like some messed up woman-wolf hybrid, all covered in shaggy hair, and honestly, it's just ugly. Maru is just standing there, taking it silently, when the monster almost puts its hand on his head. The creature grasps his entire skull, shifts to the side, and tells him to eat, like some serious Tokyo Ghoul vibes. While everyone else is on edge, he's practically salivating, talking about wanting to chow down. And we're not talking about a bit of drool. This is some serious, over-the-top saliva action. Someone nudges his shoulder, catching him off guard. It's Sion-woo asking if he's laughing out of pure fear. Keeping it real, Maru tells him nah, he's just hungry. He jokes that Sion-woo shouldn't think he's lame for being hungry right now. Trying to chill out, Maru wonders what the heck just happened and why he's so hungry. At the top of the mountain, Yu Young gathers everyone around to get their attention. Before they can dive into using their abilities, she goes over some important stuff first. She explains that the yellow mist around them is caused by demon, and the stronger the demon, the more mist they create. Then she pulls out a knife and makes a tiny cut on her hand to show something else. She points out that people who've gained demon powers get a boost in healing while they're in the mist, but they still need to watch out because a serious injury can still take them out. Also, outside the mist, they're like any normal person. No powers. Sion-woo, always the cocky one, yawns and wonders how long she's going to keep rambling on. He thinks she should have started with the main point, how to activate the power. So, he decides to give it a shot, bites his lip, and ends up with a little injury. Suddenly, some yellow dust floats toward him. He feels something click inside, and his strength starts to amp up, plus his eyes turn golden. The trick is letting that mist flow into his bloodstream. Slipping on a glove, he figures it's time to kick things off. Suddenly, the stake that had been lodged in the monster's head explodes. Kang yells for everyone to be careful as the yellow dust starts to close in on them. Now that they're free, the monsters start moving and let out a huge roar before smashing their fists on the ground. The newbies who just signed up for this are already freaking out. Kang wants to step in, but Yu Young tells her to chill. Kang thinks it's too intense for beginners, but Yu Young doesn't back down. She says it's the perfect chance for them to get some practice in. If they can't handle a level 1 creature, they'll just end up getting killed anyway. The monster suddenly sniffs the air and zeroes in on Maru, who's completely frozen in fear. He can't believe this thing is staring right at him. Then, out of nowhere, the monster's hand opens up and a knife shoots out, heading straight for Maru. Man, that thing is quick. Maru takes it to the arm and collapses to the ground in agony. Kang feels bad for him as he writhes in pain. He gets back up, his arm aching like crazy, but the monster's already closing in, ready to smash him. The beast lands right next to him, getting closer. They lock eyes as it reaches out its hand, but out of nowhere, something bursts out of the ground. A giant centipede wraps around the creature, choking it while staring it down. Turns out this is Sion-woo's thing, the demon centipede. His power is pretty brutal. Then a female student rushes forward and attacks the monster from behind, slicing its head. Her ability is from the Hojo demon, whatever that is. What I do know is the monster just lost half its brain and is now screaming toward the sky. The girl grins, saying at least they managed to win, but then the yellow dust whirls back into the monster's head, bringing it back to full health. Now the idiot gets it. This creature can regenerate like crazy. The monster grabs the centipede and yanks it from Xianwu's neck, since it's connected to his arm. The creature uses it like a whip, flinging Xianwu into the girl. It pulls him back and squeezes him hard. This thing is really just being petty. Opening its huge mouth, it looks ready to take a bite. But out of nowhere, Xianwu snaps his fingers inside his glove, and the monster's neck twists all crazy, making it let go of him. Now it clicks. Xianwu isn't just some showy guy. This dude actually looks good. He's got the skills of a temple demon. Apparently, when he breaks his own bones, he can break the monster's too. The creature lunges at him, but Xianwu takes off his glove and shatters his own wrist, telling it to die. With that, the monster's entire neck twists and explodes. Its body collapses to the ground, leaving its head at his feet like a soccer ball. Xianwu explains once you chops off Demon's head, it can't emit or absorb mist anymore, so that's it. The rest of the trainees are left stunned. He comments that it's a good chance to test something new. Kang pops up behind him and asks if he really broke her stake on purpose to wake up the demon. The cocky dude definitely has a bit of a villain vibe. He just shrugs it off and says, "No way, where's the proof?" But she grabs his arm and says they can find out real quick by breaking his fingers. Yu Young starts clapping her hands, jumping in to give Xianwu some props for nailing it on his first try. But wait, someone's missing. Our guy has bolted out of there. He wants nothing to do with this. A job like this? No way. He's after a chill, normal life, not one where he has to battle demons with cursed power. But seriously, someone needs to clue him in that he's the main character here, so he won't be ducking out of the action anytime soon. Yu Young shakes her head, saying that anyone who runs away like that isn't cut out for being a special agent. Meanwhile, Kang is still trying to wrap her head around what she just saw. There were tons of targets around, yet the creature specifically went for Maru. Yu Young quickly tells everyone to find him and check if he's okay. Then Kang points out something that everyone else missed. If the monster is dead, why is the yellow dust still hanging around? Now everyone is starting to wonder the same thing. Maru is standing in front of a gate covered in a ton of dust, wondering what's up with it. Suddenly, a massive monster shows up, a beast that's at least 15 meters tall. He quickly ducks behind a bush thinking, why me? Seriously, why does it have to be him? Of all people, the one just trying to escape. When he takes another peek to see if the monster is gone, nope, it's right there behind him. You can imagine the monster thinking, who are we hiding from? Just then, the girl with the dyed hair shouts for Kang Chana, who asks what's up. She says she got a heads up from headquarters. Level 3 demon is lurking around. Yu Young thinks it's kind of weird. Demons don't usually come around, one after the other like this. Kang wants to know where it is. And guess what? Our guy is already sprinting for his life through the restricted zone, sliding on the ground and yelling for help until he trips over a rock and eats dirt. He jumps up and sees that same house again, his dad's place. At least he knows this spot and where to hide. He races to a house with a metal door and ducks behind it, breathing hard and wondering what the heck that thing is. He sneaks a look through a crack, trying to convince himself that there's no way the monster would come this far. But of course, it's right there. Why is this thing so fixated on him? And what's with all those weird floating things around its head? Just then, he hears the gate creaking open. An old woman walks in, calling out for someone and wondering why there's so much yellow mist everywhere. Her cataracts are so bad that she can't even see the massive, 15-meter-tall monster right in front of her. Meanwhile, the creature is grinning, ready to pounce on him. Maru realizes he has to do something to save this old woman before he becomes the creature's dinner. The problem? He doesn't have the strength. How's he supposed to pull this off? Then he remembers what Yu Young said, those with demon abilities can heal their wounds in the mist. But a critical injury will still take him out. His hands are shaking. He knows he could be in serious trouble. Maybe he should just lie low and save himself. Instead of risking his life for someone he doesn't even know, the old woman squints into the distance, wondering if that's Changguk's mom. Even the monster seems thrown off, echoing her words. She steps closer, telling it off for copying her. Then she stops dead in her tracks. Now it's too close for comfort. Her eyesight might not be great, but up this close, her cataracts aren't a big deal anymore. She can clearly see the huge creature standing right in front of her, looking scared. She stumbles back, trying to wrap her head around what she's seeing. Meanwhile, the monster just keeps repeating what she said. It raises a wild finger, spikes ready to strike. Then it makes its move. Blood splatters, and I bet $1 million Maru just jumped in the way and took the hit for it. Sure enough, as the old woman slowly opens her eyes, she finds our guy bleeding out in her lap. He weakly asks if she's okay. She says yes, but he collapses onto her, missing an arm impaled all over. Man, our guy is really struggling. Almost passing out, he tells the old lady to get out of there, while he wonders why he got stuck with such a weak ability. His power is as pointless as the resumes he keeps tossing at companies. In the end, he's probably going to die and won't even be able to save the old woman. All he really wants is for someone stronger to just show up and rescue him for a change. While he's lying there waiting for someone to show up, he feels this weird yellow mist creeping into his arm. His veins pop up on his neck, and soon enough he's drooling like crazy. Then, all of a sudden, he lunges at the monster, trying to take a bite out of it. Kang is running full speed through the woods when she hears a scream behind her. She spins around and charges through the gate, ready to see something wild. Maru is feasting on the monster's neck. Horrified, she can't understand what this rookie is doing. The creature grabs Maru by the head and slams him into the wall. He's barely conscious, but it looks like he swallowed the chunk he bit off. The monster is really pissed off. That little punk actually bit him. As the monster tries to make a run for it, Kang spots something weird. The spot where Maru took a bite isn't healing. She doesn't get why, but now's not the time to dwell on it. She charges at the monster, jumps up high, and grabs one of its crystals. With that, she activates her steel demon power and turns the crystal into a sword. The monster lets out a loud roar and launches spikes at her. She spins around just in time and bounces them all back with her blade. Now the creature has to shield itself from its own attack. But now she's right there in front of it, deadly, stunning, and looking like a snack. With a precise vertical slash, the creature is split in half. With that, it crumbles into dust. The fight's finally done. Blood spills everywhere, soaking the ground in red. She walks over to the old woman and checks if she's okay. The woman seems to have passed out. A moment later, she suddenly wakes up, looking all confused. Kang, now totally clean, probably because the blood turned to dust, just casually says that a wild boar ran through. That's it. The old woman grumbles about how boars often pass through this area. Kang tells her not to sweat it. She'll take care of it. The woman thanks her for all the hard work and heads home. As soon as the woman leaves, Kang's expression shifts. She looks at Maru, determined to figure out what's going on with this kid. She's never seen anyone with a level 1 ability regenerating an entire arm like that out of nowhere. By all accounts, his ability should be pretty weak. The scene shifts to our guy, totally freaking out. He just got a message saying he's starting work tomorrow, but after that scary monster encounter, there's no way he's up for that job. Maru flops onto his bed, grumbling about how he's not going to work. Still, he really needs a paycheck, but he's so wiped out that he can't even think straight, so he decides to just crash and sleep it off. But if there's one thing our guy can never catch, it's a break. He's always stuck dreaming about that crazy war where those red monsters are just tearing each other apart. Then he hears a voice telling him to wake up. Out of nowhere, he jolts awake, drenched in sweat, breathing heavy and staring at his hands, totally confused about what just went down. Morning rolled in, and he peered outside, only to find the whole mountain engulfed in flames. In the middle of all those burning trees and bushes, an ashy creature was strutting around, igniting everything in its path. Out of nowhere, a soaking wet girl showed up, tossing water at it. Honestly, those little splashes weren't going to do much, but she had some backup. Another person shows up and hits the monster with an ice attack. Its leg freezes solid, turning it into a giant popsicle. The girl calls out for the leader, pointing out how weird it is for monsters like this to show up at night. But the guy tells her not to stress about that right now. First, they need to deal with the fire before it spreads. The monster is starting to melt the ice, and the guy pulls out 2 swords, claiming he'll handle it. He charges at the creature, but just then, something pops out of his forehead, a creepy eye that opens up and gives a command, bring that person. In an instant, the monster breaks free. Now the captain and the creature are closing in on each other. One's getting ready to slash while the other is gearing up to throw a punch. At least the guy manages to block, but it's not enough. He gets sent flying into a tree and crashes hard against it. He's done for. The soaking wet girl is yelling for the leader, totally panicked, but the creature is all hunched over in a cauldron shape on its back. Lava starts to ooze out, and the captain realizes the monster is getting bigger and stronger. Back at headquarters in Seoul, the monitors are going crazy with red alerts. Yu Young is demanding a status update, because things are clearly going downhill fast. A staff member jumps in with news that 20 mountains are under attack at the same time. The way these creatures are popping up has changed all of a sudden. This has only been happening this week, and nobody knows why. Just then, one of the staff members interrupts, saying they're getting an urgent call from Busan. Young picks up and asks what the problem is. She hears a familiar voice calling her Big Sis. It's Bae Myung-sik, the director over in Busan, and he wants to know when she's planning to swing by. She lets out a sigh, greets him, and tells him to just get to the point. Then he tells her what's going on there. A portal has been open for 3 days straight. Yu Young can't believe it. How is that even a thing? Researchers are pouring out non-stop, and the team handling the area is totally wiped out, fighting without a break and with no end in sight. Yu Young is puzzled about why the portal isn't closing. She asks if anyone has figured out what's going on. Myung-sik explains that the monster they're up against just keeps repeating the same thing. They even sent a girl with some interpreter skills to try to make sense of it. The monster's message is simple: bring that person. As the creature keeps causing chaos, Yu Young wonders who this person is. Myung-sik admits that's the issue. They have no clue who it is. He knows they need that person to show up fast, though. Yu Young quickly calls someone, a helicopter. The guy answers, asking what's up. She gives him a rundown of the situation on the mountain, and without skipping a beat, the guy heads to the edge of the chopper and says he's on his way. He tells her to call back after he sorts some stuff out, and then he just jumps, diving through the sky like a shooting star. As he falls, he zips through a cloud of yellow mist. This guy has no fear at all. Then, out of nowhere, he flips on spatial inversion, hanging in the air. He lands smoothly on top of the gate, and everyone below is left in shock. Who's this crazy person that just appeared out of nowhere? One of the women shouts for him to get down because it's risky. Meanwhile, the red-hooded demon smirks, looking really happy that he's there. It lunges at the woman, aiming for a piercing kick. She barely manages to dodge. The issue is that the monster is right over her. She's got no way out. But then, the newcomer reaches into thin air, opens his spatial tear, and rips out the monster's entire spinal column. The creature completely freezes, taken aback. He casually gives a shout-out to everyone for their hard work, saying they can kick back now. From here on out, he's got it covered. He's the strongest demon ability user around. Purple lines start spreading across the ground, reaching up toward the dust. They climb higher and higher, eventually towering over the moon. From a distance, everyone's staring at it, totally baffled by what they're seeing. The guy with glasses admits he's never actually seen this thing up close before, but he's heard that it's supposed to have the craziest spatial powers out there. Jong is cutting right through that yellow mist. Meanwhile, back on the burning mountain, the lava beast just keeps growing bigger, and the ice water demon is about to give up. The girl collapses, and the guy is yelling for her to get up, or they're both toast. The lava monster charges again. The ice user desperately throws up a barrier, but the beast just keeps smashing into it until it finally breaks. He goes flying and slams onto the ground, gasping for air. He realizes this is it. This is how he's going to go down. But then a rift opens up behind the monster. Jong yanks the beast's head through it, hurling the entire thing away. The explosion sends a bunch of crows flying into the sky. Jong says it's time to deal with this monster. Not just this one, but all of them. He fires up every rift unit in Gangwon province. A boy is being trampled by a monster. The creature says something in a strange language, then stabs him in the chest. At that moment, a rift opens up behind the beast, and it's quickly sucked in. This is happening all over the mountains where the attacks are happening. Every monster is getting pulled into the same spot. On one hand, that's a good thing. At least they're all in one place now. But on the flip side, it's also super risky. One of the team members points out that the danger signals are going away, and the director just shrugs it off, saying that it only means he's made it there safely. Jong's plan totally works, and now all the monsters are in one spot. He's super excited. It's finally time to get started. The demon screams and lunges at him. But even with all the chaos around, he just points at one and rips open a spatial rift. Then, like a pro dancer, he pulls off a smooth Michael Jackson spin, slicing in every direction at once. Demon heads zoom up into the sky while the rest of the team just stands there, completely shocked. They've never come across someone this strong before. Jong walks up to the magma creature and calls for the translator, asking her to take it from there. He then questions the monster about why everyone's been on edge this week. The translator shares the response, "Bring that person." Jong looks confused and asks who that is. The monster just repeats the question back to him, and the translator says it's just mimicking what Jong said. Without hesitation, Jong slams the monster into the ground. If that's the case, he says, then they'll just keep killing them until they stop coming. So covered in blood, he looks back at the gate. He puts his hand on the ground and opens up a space underneath it, sucking everything in. Honestly, that's a pretty smart way to deal with things. One of the squad members in the back lets out a sigh of relief, saying she feels a lot safer with Jong around. In just a moment, he powers down and poof, the gate disappears. The next day at headquarters, Yu Young strolls into the office and immediately asks Jong what he did with the portal. He casually mentions it's hanging out in his black void and that he's worn out from all the effort. But that annoying woman just tells him he should take care of it like he always does. Jong sighs, saying he has his limits too. It's not like he can run the whole organization on his own. He switches on the TV and mentions that he gets it, but he's already put together all the info she asked for. The screen shows pictures of all the new recruits. Yu Young is curious why he's so into them. He explains that he's trying to figure out what the demons are after and, more importantly, why they want him specifically. Among the heaps of monstrous bodies, there's one huge woman's corpse that seems to watch him back, and I can't help but hear that message echoing, "Bring him." It's Maru's first day on the job, and he shows up ready to go. His mom was so emotional about him landing a government position. She cried tears of joy when she found out. Even though he couldn't share any details, her happiness was contagious, and he didn't want to let her down. As soon as he walks in, a guy with a fancy vibe straight up asks him why he's back. The dude shakes his head like he's fed up, saying he doesn't want to feel awkward around his team. Maru can't help but notice he smells like he's been drinking. Then the boss comes over, and Seonwoo, still in a bad mood, says he really doesn't want to be there and wants to get transferred to the main city. The leader just shrugs it off, saying he's not sure why a level 7 like Seonwoo ended up in this place either. Clearly something's off, but either way both of them are stuck on the Ganghwa team now. Maru can't help but wonder what he's actually going to do here, when there aren't any demons to chase. As soon as the leader opens the door, he walks into the office and sees everyone, fighting off zombies and examining strange creatures. But then it hits him. This place is just like any other boring office. The guy in the nice suit introduces himself as Go Dukman, the team leader. The girl in glasses is Yoon Ji-won. She's got 7 years under her belt. Then there's Kim Yi-bak, the tall guy, who's also been here for 7 years. And the guy with the crazy dyed hair? That's Yoseok, and he's the newbie with just 1 year of experience. Dukman tells everyone to chill and just sit wherever they want. Maru, feeling the heat, finally finds a spot. He can't help but wonder if everyone feels this stressed on the first day. Trying to make a good impression, he says hi to his new co-workers. But then Seonwoo, sitting right across from him, shoots him a glare and tells him to stop staring. Maru feels totally deflated. Meanwhile, Seonwoo is fuming about being stuck in this secluded place. So Maru shifts his focus to Yoseok, who's busy scrolling through designer clothes online. He asks what their actual job is, and Yoseok nonchalantly points around and explains that they're part of a special unit handling the yellow dust issue. So there are 13 divisions scattered all over Seoul, and if you've got a ranking of 7 or up, you get sent on special missions. The island, though, it's basically for people who can't cut it or just have some quirk. Maru totally gets it. That's why he's stuck here. But honestly, something just feels off about this place. Yoseok chimes in that some skilled folks actually choose to take this job. Just then, both of them look over, and wow, that girl Kang Chana is really training hard. Maru, feeling a bit awkward, sits up straight, but she's looking right at him. Jiwon tells her she should head home after her shift at the station, but she just plops down, saying she has no real reason to go back. Chana watches everything unfold, quietly noting that Maru ended up in this situation. It's weird she woke up with no memory of what happened the day before. On the flip side, Maru is pretty shocked to find out he'll be getting hazard pay. The salary is decent, but the fact that there's hazard pay just shows how dangerous his job really is. Then Yoseok chimes in, saying it's 5 times the normal salary. Maru's face completely changes. That's a lot of cash. Yoseok, clearly annoyed, tells him to knock it off. He's busy. Meanwhile, Maru's just wondering what on earth he's supposed to do in this place. As time goes by, he starts to get the hang of things. He never thought he'd find such an easy gig that pays so well. Then Deokman stretches and announces the workday is done. He walks over to the 2 newbies, asking if they ran into any problems or have questions. Seonwoo just says no, but Maru is curious about one thing. Where do demons actually come from? And why are they even a thing? Deokman shrugs. Nobody really knows. Seonwoo chimes in that most folks believe they came from above. Maru notices that no one really knows where these creatures come from, but it seems like nobody cares either. It's kind of frustrating to think humanity is on the brink of disaster. Still, these folks keep doing their jobs despite the craziness. Meanwhile, at headquarters, Yu Young heads down in the elevator. She spots Jong standing in front of this golden capsule, and he asks her what she thinks. She takes a look at some reports and mentions that the monster sightings seem to have leveled out. But Jong can't peel his eyes away from the swirling yellow mist and is left wondering what triggered this wave of creatures. Yu Young throws out the idea that maybe they're inching closer to figuring it all out. Jong, though, isn't too convinced. He's looking at a fallen angel, all hung up upside down with white hair. and just shakes his head, not really buying it. Jong thinks everyone needs to be on high alert right now. If the rest of the crew catches wind of this, it'd be total chaos. Meanwhile, Maru jumps in, asking what's going on. The others are grilling some barbecue, and casually say this is exactly why they need to celebrate as much as they can. Yosuk chimes in, saying that because of this prophecy, they try to make the most of every day. Maru, clearly confused, asks for a real explanation. Finally, Diokman spills the beans that there's a prophecy saying in a year, demons will start falling from the sky. Maru can't believe what he's hearing. Endless portals are going to pop up all over the world, and things are about to get really bloody. He thinks that's straight up terrifying. Diokman tells him to keep it on the down low since it's super classified info. Meanwhile, Yoon is urging everyone to drink until they're sick. Yoseok's ready to head home, and Kei-chana reminds them to chill out, since they've got work tomorrow. Seonwoo is already trashed and out cold. Apparently, he can't handle his alcohol, but Maru keeps pushing everyone to stop drinking. Wondering why nobody seems freaked out about this whole apocalypse warning. Just then, a bright golden light appears above a mountain. A gate opens in the sky and yellow dust starts spilling out, with countless hands reaching out. As soon as the first bald-headed monster shows up, everyone's phones start blaring with emergency alerts. Yoo Ji-won rolls her eyes, frustrated, saying she just wants to chill, and that nighttime disasters are such a hassle. On the other hand, Kang-chana gets up and announces she'll be back in a bit. Ji-won immediately says she's going with her, but Kang insists she wants to take Han Maru instead. Maru, however, is not interested at all. He's just sitting there, forehead pressed against the car window, wondering how he ended up in this crazy situation. Kang calls out to him, telling him not to stress too much about the prophecy. Maru responds that it's not something to brush off, but she's pretty confident that the top dogs are already on it. He might not realize it, but there are a bunch of powerful people working in this organization. Right now, all they have to focus on is locating the demons and killing them. Maru is pretty freaked out, but he can't help being totally into how cool she is. Then she throws out that he seems to have a special talent, and she's super curious to see what he can do. Maru's on cloud 9. It's the first time anyone's actually expected something from him. Then she casually says she's never seen anyone eat like him before and wonders if it's some sort of gluttony demon thing. Maru has no idea what she is talking about. She explains that it literally seems like he has the power to eat demons. He hates the sound of that, but then the scene cuts to a monster being impaled. Kang's got the thing pinned down and looks over at him. She says his ability seems to stop it from healing, so she's curious to see it work. Now's the moment for him to take a bite. Maru hesitates, ripping the monster's tentacle. At this point, he figures he might as well get it over with. The creature looks gross, but he tells himself to think of it like eating octopus at a restaurant. He leans in, teeth ready, but only takes a tiny nibble. Kang tells him to actually try harder. He needs to bite down like he really means it. Maru sighs, says he gets it, and reluctantly starts to chew. The next day at the office, Maru is feeling terrible. Every part of him aches. Sunwoo can't help but smirk, saying he heard Maru threw up yesterday. What a joke. Maru doesn't even care. He just asks Seonwoo what he expects from him. Seonwoo rolls his eyes, insisting that someone like Maru shouldn't even be here. They should have sent someone who can actually contribute. He tells Maru to be thankful that Commander Kang even cares a little about what he can do. Then he just walks away, calling Maru useless trash. Maru is totally getting roasted, but honestly, the dude has a point. He really needs to step it up. Just then, the alarm goes off. Kei-chana gets up, ready to call out to him, but Maru's stuck in the bathroom, hands on his face, trying to wrap his head around the fact that he's supposed to eat monsters. Sure, he's got an ability, but eating monsters isn't exactly a win. As he strolls down the hallway, he nearly freaks out when he bumps into Kang. It feels like his heart stops. He almost loses it. She raises an eyebrow and asks if he's been hiding out in the bathroom. Maru fesses up that, yeah, he heard the alarm, but he got food poisoning from munching on that creature. Kang sighs, shaking her head. She tells him he really isn't cut out for this gig. She explains that just because he has a special power doesn't mean he has to work for the government. There's another way. He could sign a contract promising not to spill the beans about any of this, and then he can just live his life under constant watch for as long as he wants. Maru's in shock. He thought things would be a bit easier, but Kang jumps in, saying this is still better than getting killed on the battlefield. People with his mental strength usually don't stick around long. The way he's acting, he could get sent on a mission to save someone and end up messing it up, leading to a death he could have prevented. If he can't handle it, he should just quit. Kang gets really up close and reminds him they don't need anyone who's useless. Man, poor Maru just can't catch a break. Back at the office, Kang figures Maru's probably thrown in the towel. You'd think this would kick off some big motivation moment. But nope, Maru is just standing on a bridge, actually feeling happy for once. Maybe he really isn't cut out for this. Living under watch seems better than dying in a fight, but the poor guy doesn't even realize he's the main character in this story. There's no way out for him. Right at that moment, his phone buzzes. It's his mom calling. He picks it up, already feeling tired of battling monsters. He asks what she's up to. She tells him she's on a hiking trip at Inwang Mountain. Maru freezes, puts his hand over his face, and groans. He's already told her to stop climbing mountains. But then the call suddenly gets all glitchy. His mom pauses, sounding confused, and asks why there's so much yellow dust floating around. His heart sinks immediately. The call cuts off. Oh man, this is not good. Meanwhile, at Inwang Mountain, the security team is on the scene, getting ready to deal with a demon. The guards just stand there totally lost. One of them looks up and spots a creature in a tree, chewing on a human arm. A crystal shines on its forehead, and it grins at them. Back to Maru, he's racing toward the mountain. In just a few seconds, the whole security team is wiped out. A level 5 demon is munching on the new recruits, and there's no one left to do anything about it. But then, the regional leader, a heavy-set woman, shows up. She kicks into gear with her duplication power and tells the survivors to call for backup, while she keeps the monster busy. One of them dashes off to use the landline since nothing else works out here. It's their only shot. Back at headquarters, Yu Young gets the emergency requests and jumps into action. She quickly explains that civilians are in serious trouble. If that level 5 demon makes it to the city, it's going to be chaos. They're running out of time fast. Everyone has to move like right now. Maru shows up, and guess who's already there? He jumps out of a taxi and races full speed to the entrance. He gets to the hiking tour group and starts looking around for his mom. Not seeing her, he asks one of the guides to let him through, but the guide won't budge, saying it's too dangerous. Apparently there are wild animals out there, but Maru knows better. It's not animals, it's demons. While the guards are busy keeping an eye on the main entrance, he's already making his way up the mountain from the other side. It's the quickest way up. As he climbs, he just hopes his mom is okay. Lost in the dust and thick yellow fog, someone's struggling with a twisted ankle. It's Chad's mom. She casually bends down and tells the injured woman to hop on her back, carrying her with ease. Suddenly she stops, noticing something moving in the mist. A hand reaches out for her, and it's Maru looking all panicked. His mom turns in surprise. He says he saw her post on social media. She's about to ask about his new government job, but he quickly brushes it off. Not the time for that right now. The other woman chimes in, saying she's happy for Maru's mom. A government job? That's pretty impressive. Maru's mom lights up at that. Now all she has to do is find him a wife. But he's not exactly popular with the ladies. Maru lets out a sigh. He tells them they need to get moving. No time to waste. He feels something creeping up on him. The demon is right above, and when he looks up, he locks eyes with it. Panic hits him like a wave. Can't breathe? Can't move? This always happens whenever he sees a demon. How's he supposed to keep his mom safe like this? Out of nowhere, the injured woman notices he looks off. She says he seems weird. Suddenly, Maru's mom screams his name, and the demon swivels around and lunges at her. She reaches for Maru just as the demon is about to bite him. Maru screams, but then, out of nowhere, the demon goes down with a thud, its back bleeding. Maru, totally confused, just stares at it. Where did all those knives in its back come from? His mom totally freaks out, but then she spots something on her son's head. Maru looks up and realizes the knives actually belong to him. He's absorbed the power from a demon he's eaten. Suddenly, it hits him that one of the creatures he fought had this same ability. Then he feels something odd at his back and another knife pops out. He can actually control that! So, it's not just about stopping regeneration. He can steal abilities too. He smirks, ready to test out what this power can really do. The demon is already down, crawling away, and it's way weaker than he thought. Seriously? Why is everyone else on the mountain struggling against something this easy? In another part of the mountain, a wounded soldier is slumped against a fence when 2 agents from headquarters show up. One of them checks on him, asking if he's okay. The soldier, shaking and scared, stumbles over his words, saying the demon is super terrifying and wiped out his whole team. One of the agents scratches his chin, looking skeptical. He points out that it's hard to believe since the leader here is a level 7 user. Another agent with slicked back hair asks what kind of ability the level 5 demon had. The soldier replies that it could copy abilities. At that moment, Maru notices something shining on the demon's back, and his eyes go wide as he realizes the attack he just used has been mirrored. Before he can do anything, the demon strikes, its crystals piercing him all over. Maru isn't freaking out. He's just stunned that this jerk copied him. The demon moves closer, its forehead shining like a mirror. Maru quickly figures out it's using a reflection-based power. The monster is just mimicking his every move. If he throws a punch, it'll hit back in the same way. Then he hears his mom crying out in pain behind him. He turns, her knee is bleeding. She's stressing over his injuries, but he's more focused on whether she can help him heal. He pulls up his shirt to show off his wounds and claims he's all good. His abs look amazing. Total Giga Chad vibes. Now he knows if he wants to protect his mother, he has to kill this thing. He turns to her and tells her to hide. He'll handle this. His mom looks worried, but he stands firm. He's a public servant here to protect people. He'll wrap this up quickly and be right back. He leaps at the monster, grabs it by the waist, and throws it off the mountain, going down with it. His mom screams and crows take off into the sky. Maru manages to land on a higher ledge while the creature falls. He gets up, his body sore but healing a bit. For now, he just needs to keep the demon away from his mom. If he can stall long enough, the mountain team will show up to take care of things, and everything will be okay. The two agents just got in from headquarters and immediately ran into a much bigger problem. It wasn't just one level 5 creature. There were tons of them invading. A whole horde of monsters stood there, staring while one of the agents looked around, puzzled by how they all seemed so similar. The bald guy muttered that the mountain leader could duplicate herself, which meant they were dealing with copies. He knew he had to take out the original body, but the tricky part was figuring out which one that was. The other agent, totally unfazed, just grinned and said it didn't matter. He just needed to take them all down. Without hesitation, he lunged forward and punched the ground, sending a shockwave that knocked the creatures flying. The bald agent sighed, thinking his partner was such an idiot. But one thing was clear. Based on how the clones were fighting, the real deal wasn't around. There was definitely one soaking up yellow dust just below them. Maru realizes this freak is regenerating just as fast as he is. The problem is that he's getting worn out from all the healing. Then he hears a voice that makes his stomach drop. The demon is using his mom's voice. Maru loses it and yells at it not to do that. He throws a knife, but his aim is off. He mutters to himself that it's not as easy, as it looks to control someone else's ability. Meanwhile, the creature casually forms a crystal and hurls it straight into his shoulder, which just makes him angrier. This time, he goes all out and launches a barrage of knives. One actually hits the monster in the shoulder. Maru cheers, but then the monster grunts, shakes itself off, and regenerates in an instant. Maru's heart sinks. They seem to have the same attack ability, but the monster's recovery is even better than his. That means it's weaker than him. He suddenly remembers something really important. It's that chat he had with Kang. She once mentioned that she feels like he never really pays attention to what she's saying. Lying on the ground, bleeding, Maru mutters that maybe he isn't made for this. She reached out, helped him up, and said he was just afraid of getting hurt. He got that wounds heal in the yellow mist, so it really didn't matter. The pain is real, yes, but that's just part of it. Plus, he has to eat those damn demons to recover. She had been crushing his hand as she spoke, and he had asked if there was a better way to fight. Kang had thought for a moment before responding. To kill a monster like this, he has to cut off its head and stop it from absorbing yellow dust. He can't really attack, so he's more of a support guy. But the good news is he's got awesome healing powers. That means he can dive right in and face off against monsters without worrying too much. Maru smiles, feeling confident. If his skills are top-notch, there's nothing to be afraid of anymore. Besides, thanks to gluttony, he has more than enough strength to kill this thing. The issue is, he still can't aim to save his life. Hitting the monster right in the neck is going to be tough. And on top of that, the creature keeps making fun of him in his mom's voice. In that moment, Maru decides to go a different route. If he can't aim straight, he'll just have to improvise. He chucks another crystal at the demon, which dodges it easily. But by the time it looks up again, Maru is already soaring through the air, charging right at it. And hey, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Zucker Manhwa for more epic recaps coming your way.